Hello, this is a tradesight Forex Market Preview and Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, May 12th, 2013, ending Friday, May 17th. Hope you're having a good trading week or have had one. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart. As you can see, made a little surge here on Thursday and Friday. Gave us a nice 200 pip winner on the pound, 80 pip winner or so on the euro dollar on Friday. So nice winners to close out the week. Just got a little movement. That's what happens. And came right back up near the highs, which is also a green static trend line from the last 9-bar move down here on the daily chart of the dollar index. So overall, decent move late in the week. We had a good week. Still doesn't break us out of any range. Everything looks about the same from the charting perspective. And if I go to something like the pound dollar, for example, what you'll notice is that really nothing has changed in the broader picture. We did move up to a near the static trend line here, the green line, and we've rolled over here, obviously, with the dollar getting stronger. Now, if I look at the euro dollar, for example, same thing, right? This was very mid-range. We had been 9 bars up. We're 6 bars up on the Comer count itself, the countdown phase, and obviously that hasn't led to anything yet either. So we're basically looking at really still neutral readings in the euro and the pound in general. Now, if I take us back over to the Aussie dollar, for example, a little bit different story, right? And this is going to be 8 bars down today, or Friday was 8 bars down on the setup phase of the Aussie dollar, and we're making new lows for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So that's a big deal on the Aussie dollar. So the story's not the same across the board. It looks a little different there than it does perhaps on the euro and the pound, which are much more contained. And if I look at the intraday action on the euro, you can see that, again, we got that decent move on Thursday going into Friday. That's about it. All right, let's take a look at the economic data that's going to be coming out this week. And again, it's much more than last week. Last week was very, very limited in terms of economic data. So maybe this will move the market a little bit better, but obviously, hopefully these ranges and movement that we're seeing start to carry forward a bit. Really like to see the market move the way that it did on Thursday and Friday. You can't expect every single day to be interesting, but certainly if you get 2 or 3 great days like that a week, it's all it takes in Forex, the way that we approach the Forex market. So, starting Sunday, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, New Zealand's FPI, Japan releases their M2 data, home loans out of Australia. Going into Monday, China's got some data, industrial production, retail sales, fixed asset investments. Switzerland's got their retail sales. We've got meetings out in Europe. The U.S. retail sales and business inventories early for the U.S. stock market. Retail sales out of New Zealand that night and core retail sales with it. Got CGPI out of Japan. We've got the 30-year bond auction out of Japan going into Tuesday. German final CPI, WPI. Preliminary machine tool orders out of Japan. Economic sentiment data out of Europe at 5 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, along with industrial production and the CB leading index out of the UK. We've got basically no data out of the US on Tuesday. Tertiary industry activity out of Japan that night. New motor vehicle sales out of Australia and wage price index. That's Tuesday evening here in the US. These are all Eastern Standard Time. Got Wednesday, May 15th, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, consumer confidence out of Japan, then French preliminary GDP, German preliminary GDP, French CPI, PPI out of Switzerland, Italian preliminary GDP. Got the unemployment rate out of the UK at 4:30 a.m., flash GDP out of the broad European sector, 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Manufacturing sales out of Canada, PPI out of the US at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's an hour before the stock market on Wednesday. Empire State Manufacturing Index. We've got capacity utilization and industrial production. Tick long-term purchases. That's all before the stock market opens. Then you got the NAHB Housing Index, crude oil inventories. That night, preliminary GDP out of Japan. New Zealand's annual budget release. This takes us into Thursday. Japan's revised industrial production, French preliminary non-farm payroll data, Italian trade balance, CPI out of Europe, and trade balance out of Europe. There's 2 big numbers. Granted, it's the European version at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Might want to be aware of that on Thursday, but we'll be half-sized that night anyways because, as you can see, the U.S. CPI data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That is one of our big 3 each month, so we would be half-size ahead of that. And again, remember, we had very little economic data this last week, so this is a bigger week already just looking at it. Housing starts coming out as well. Philly Fed at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Canada's Bank of Canada review, natty gas data out of the U.S., PPI out of New Zealand, core machinery orders out of Japan, and then heading into Friday, which is options expiration this week. Not a big deal for Forex. It's not triple expiration, but the main options expiration is on Friday. The only data there is CPI out of Canada with their wholesale sales numbers, and then Michigan sentiment. After that, here in the U.S., CB leading index as well. Bernanke speaking at 11 a.m. Friday morning, and that wraps up the week. So much more data this week than the prior week. But again, hopefully we can just get these ranges to continue, as that certainly helps us the way we approach the Forex market. And we will see what happens. We will be calling the trades in the lab. Have a great week.